Hey guys, thanks for joining us again. This is Mark with We the People Oklahoma, and I have my panelists here, Gina,
hello,
Stacy,
hey
and Renee. All right, guys, today's topic is good cop, bad cop. Okay?
Deep breath.
It has been brought to our attention that a lot of people think that we are anti-cop. So let's address this issue. We are not anti-cop.
Nor do we think that all cops are bad.
Absolutely. However, there is this question that has been floating around the internet and a lot of our social circles is that, are there good cops?
Of course not.
Well, you know, I mean, that could be good. It's good for debate. You know, that's why we're here.
You know what? You're right.
That's a fine line there.
It depends on what do you call a good cop, because if you're calling a good cop that sees something and doesn't report it, is that still a good cop?
Exactly.
Well,
and see his fellow man do something and he know that it's wrong, but he doesn't report it, but he says, well, that person have to have my back, so I just turn and walk the other way.
Are any of those good cops rolling up on a police officer attacking a 13-year-old boy for jaywalking, and blatantly people are yelling in the background, that's a kid, and they just jump in and tackle him to the ground?
Right.
So out of what, 5, 6, 7 officers there in that situation, you mean to tell me not one of those was a good cop? Why did out of all those cops, why did nobody feel it necessary to question what this cop was doing to this poor boy sitting on this ledge? And instead they just jump in and full force and
the ones that aren't
assist.
Jumping in are blocking the view of the
exactly.
public.
Well,
there
was this thing, you know, lately in the blogosphere, everyone is trying to say that there are organizations that are trying to go after police, okay? And under the President Obama, I would definitely tell you guys, statistically speaking, there has been the numbers for police officers killed in the line of duty has decreased.
It's been decreasing since Reagan.
But the propaganda message says that
it's a war on cops.
It's a war on cops.
And these Black Lives Matter is out here to kill all these cops.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we're gonna address that one too.
Right. That one.
So what happened, guys, is that there's this PR company or campaign. It's called thegoodcop.org, and I post that there so you can see it. They posted this video, and the video is their PR campaign so that everyone can kind of get it up close and personal on what a cop goes through. Okay, and they're trying to say that they are good cops out here. Now, we had just finished talking about, are there good cops? We know that there is like hell bad cops. We know that. But I do want to say this because we posted a video on our Facebook page, and Mark Aldrich, this is what he said. He said, when cops start arresting the bad cops and the DAs start prosecuting them and the judges stop rubber stamping their lies, then I will see them as good.
Exactly.
Go for it, guys.
Exactly.
What's your thoughts on that?
I don't want to hear anything else about good cops until I don't want to see any more videos of them doing the whip the day with the kids in the field. I don't want to see no more of them playing ball with the kids. What I want to see, if you want to show me a good cop, is a good cop standing up against the bad cops. Right. Whistleblowing the bad cops, calling them out. That's what I want to see.
Well,
that is
and
what
the
is
ones
going to
that
constitute
the ones
a good
that
cop
do that,
to me.
we talked about that in another segment. The ones that do that are released from the force.
Yeah,
we have one.
We have one right here in town that can't get work anywhere.
Right.
Nobody will touch him because
he's a
whistleblower.
Well, okay, so let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Can a cop not arrest another cop?
I don't see why not.
I mean, if we see all the time that these seizures that happen and they're stop guys and the cop and you see your partner stealing money, that's a law. I mean, they broke the law.
Theft, yeah.
Can he or she not arrest that cop?
I asked Highway Patrol a question like that, but not as far as stealing. But if he came upon individual and he's seen it going into play where he or she was beating a civilian, and I asked him, what would you do? Would you stop the fight? Would you pull it off because it had went too far? What would you do? He told me that he would walk away and like it never happened, because that person
I believe
has
that.
to
I believe
that person has to have his back in
at the next situation.
at the next situation.
But you're not
believe
stopping
that-
the problem.
No, you're
I
not.
believe that,
And
though, if you-
I'm not done.
Okay,
and
sorry.
this is what he said. He said the person that they're beating on is supposed to file the complaint. And I said, well, what happens with the complaint? And this goes with the sheriff department, police department, and everything. So what happens with that complaint? Well, that complaint, he said, sits there until it fills up. He has enough until that department sees fit. When something does happen, they can release him on all those complaints. But the question I have for the police department would be, if a person files a complaint, how long before, what's the time frame that the complaint can sit there before it's taken care of? So the citizen to know that the complaint's taken care of. As far as a highway patrol, when a complaint is filed, before you can even file a complaint, you have to talk to, when I call the highway patrol department, this is what they told me. You have to talk to them. You have to talk to the person over the whole department, and they have to see fit to send you a complaint form, but you have to tell them first. You can't just get one off a line. So it's anybody that has any lawsuits or anything like that could possibly go into a lawsuit from filing a complaint. Well, if the complaint is never filed or lost, then how that person can go any further, because it's not being taken care of. You're not knowing if it's being taken care of because there's no time frame that
between when you file and when you have to
exactly
respond,
there
and
is
that
no
sort of thing.
time frame. I mean, it's like a open window that they have. And so what can the citizens do? You telling them they can file, but what's the time frame that the TPD have? What's the time frame for the sheriff department? What's the time frame for the highway patrol?
And those are questions. And those are questions that we have to have answers. And, we posted this on social media, and someone had commented. They said, they was talking about in response that every time that an officer does something, there's always this barrage of social media supporters for this particular officer. I mean, even when Eric Gardner was strangled
to death on camera.
On camera, people saw it.
Even the cop in Oklahoma City that raped. He's got
absolutely.
30,
this is what we were talking about right there. Yeah. Uh-huh.
He's got a free Holtz Claw or whatever his name is. It's a Facebook group that is in full support. I'm like, one accusation, okay, maybe it's a lie. 35.
Yeah.
35 charges were filed. That's a pattern.
So then I
But
have
you
another
still support.
question. I have another question for the police department, sheriff department, highway patrol department. Are they doing their job as far as when they hire these people, even the reserve deputies? Well, I don't know if
that's another can. That's
a whole another can.
can.
But are they doing the psychological evaluations that should be done before they put these people on? Are they doing enough background check on these individuals to say to make sure they are good for that force? I don't know.
But see, what's repeated follow up after that?
Exactly. After so many complaints,
I would think that a lot of them might be in sound mind when they go in to the force, but they go rogue once they get in there.
Right. But you see with this video, even one of the men in the video was talking about that he was called to a scene where his former partner had been shot and killed, and even just watching him talk about it in the video,
he was shook up.
He was visually shaken,
right.
And it's like that man needs mental health.
He should not be a cop.
I don't agree that he shouldn't be a cop. He needs mental health care to help him process his emotions and respond accordingly the next time he has to come up on a scene, because the next time he comes up on a scene, he's gonna recall all of those emotions, and it's gonna take him right back to that date that he kept referring to in 2011 that he was on this scene, and his behavior is going to change because he's not getting the mental health.
Well, his body language, he clearly hasn't gotten the help that he needs.
What happened to the psychologists that are supposed to be hired at these police force? They're supposed to be evaluating these people.
Ding. Especially after a scene, after any scene there, of that magnitude, they are supposed to have some type of evaluation.
Yeah.
Right.
And even if he's had it, he's clearly obviously not over it, and he's not.
Then at that point,
even if he did the
needs to leave
minimum.
the force.
But then you have these police officers that are not, let's say, they're not dirty or crooked, but they are biased. They do racial profiling. They do just stereotypes and all, and they may just do stuff on the edge. And it's like, okay, if you have a partner, if you see that, then it's like the good cop who sees that and does everything by the book. He still needs to say something to his he or she superior, right? So Renee, you were working on a case that's kind of similar to racial profiling here locally in Tulsa. Tell us about it.
Well, it's still under investigation.
Okay.
I was called out to this individual's home, and from the mother perspective, the young man had her two sons had just got there. They were at home. Fox News said they had just pulled up, but they were at home. They was at their mother's home, and they had just got there, and they were fixing their flip because they they were having trouble at their grandmother's house. They had come from their grandmother's house, and they had got air in certain places and stuff like that. Well, the police, excuse me, had passed by them twice and sat back and watched, but they came up on the scene. They I guess I could say swooped in on them, and they pulled guns and everything on them. The young men held their hands up, and one young man, he said, "This is my car. This is my car." He was in his mind. He was thinking they had come for him about the car that he was fixing a flat on. Well, the other young man, his brother had his hand up, and one of the officers told him, asked him what he had in his pocket. He said, "I have my telephone." He said, "Pull your phone out your pocket." He said, "I'm not fit to pull my phone out. I'm not fit to pull my phone out of my pocket."
Not the way they're shooting people nowadays. No.
Okay, so they put the phone on the car, but somehow or another, the phone got smashed and stepped all on, and it wasn't done by the two young men, the two brothers, which it was their phone. Well. So I'm not gonna go too much into into the case, but I do want to say, by us working on the case, we went and followed the young men's trail, because someone had accused them of robbery, strong arm robbery with a gun, and robbery of an individual. Well, the young man. From the police. The police had stated, this is from the mother. The police had told her that the information that the witness were given wasn't quite matching up. So they was going to take the boys down there for questioning. Well, they let one go and they kept one. Well, I listened to the young man and followed his trail all the way home. And it's a problem. I have a problem with the situation, and that goes to.
So what do you see? What do you see in this case?
What do I see is, I'm just going to be honest. When it comes to detecting, who's detecting? Because if I can go and see something.
So what you're basically saying is that you're doing the job of the detective.
Yes, and so I went down to the detective unit, and I just wanted to know, were they through with the case? Well, I didn't get to talk to the actual detective that was on the case.
Right.
It was somebody from homicide that had talked to me, and we were just talking. And so he said, "Well, I just want to know if they're through with the case." He's, and I was like, because I'm finding out stuff that they should have clearly found out, if they would have went that extra step of detecting.
So the question is, how do they prioritize cases?